Hello, my absolutely brilliant and beautiful astrology soulmates, and welcome to this live session where we are going to talk about the upcoming new moon that's going to be happening in Cancer. And I'm pretty excited to share about this because I think that there's a lot going on at this particular moon that we can take a lot of advantage of, but it's not a passive moon at all. So I want to make sure we get an opportunity to jump in here and take a look together. I'm in a little bit of a different setting this time. So we're going to actually go to the chart on the screen. So thank goodness for the internet so that we're still able to take advantage of actually looking at the astrology of this particular event. Now, if you are new to this channel, thank you so much for being here. I hope that you find something here or you hear something here that makes you want to click that like and subscribe button. I look forward to having you around for probably a long, long, long time to come. And if you are returning, thank you for returning back. I always love having the opportunity to have your time and your attention and share about the astrology that we are experiencing. Before we jump in, everyone, please keep in mind it's an exciting time. There are lots of changes that are happening. There's a lot that's going on. And one of the biggest things that's going on is that people are ready to take that step forward into the digital revolution to really come on board. And I look forward to supporting that. So if that's you and you are ready to understand more about YouTube, you're ready to understand how to make YouTube work for your life and your business, see it as a financial resource, an impact resource, if you need it to build a platform because you want to be able to put out your book or you want to make an impact with some kind of message you have to share, I'm teaching an extra live class this week. I usually only teach it a few times a year, but I'm going to do an extra one here in August. So you can click in the description box down below and check that out and see what we have going on. Okay, now into this chart we go. So first and foremost, down here at the bottom, you're going to see that you have your date and your time. If you'd like to pull this chart for yourself to be able to have a look, I want to make sure that you have all of that information, and you can find it just down there at the bottom of the chart. Now, jumping in, it is an interesting lunation, and I call it a soulful lunation in a time where the world is complicated because we can see simply via having the amount of quincunx and direct quincunx energies that are available here that there is some story of complication happening here. So something that you've been trying to move forward or something that you've been wanting to expand is having a hard time making itself known. But let's take a step back. Actually, I want to step us back to the 24th. And I want to go back to the 24th first because we're actually going to see an aspect that will still be at play as we get to the 25th that I think is really important. What we're going to see in this particular tightened up aspect that comes to play is Jupiter in this quincunx here, in this tight quincunx here with Pluto. Now, this aspect I think is of particular importance because what is the signal to each of us? And maybe you're even feeling it in the energy that as you're starting to experience it now, is that it's emotional friction, right? Because Jupiter here in Cancer, in this quincunx, which is an adjustment and a stretching and an itchy tag kind of energy with Pluto and Aquarius, this is an awkward tension. The quincunx is always awkward because it's like they're not speaking the same language. The placements are not speaking the same language. So here we have Jupiter, who's trying to help us do this emotional expansion, and then Pluto in Aquarius, who's calling for this collective transformation, but like into what? So we're not sure. So if you've been having this experience, even now as Jupiter has moved into that Cancerian placement where you're trying to expand your emotional world, you're trying to give more love, you're trying to pour your heart and open it and unguard it, be more nurturing, establish more safety. But then that Pluto in Aquarius is making something feel urgent, right? I feel this urgent pull to detach, to reinvent, to liberate. I want to break free from the past. That energy is very, very real because these two energies, again, in a quincunx, they just don't see eye to eye. It's not that either one is wrong. It's just that they don't see eye to eye. And that discomfort, as we're experiencing it here just the day before even a lunation, is where we can see it lead to emotional overwhelm, right? Or I have this fear coming up that I'm going to lose control. I'm going to lose something I have. I'm not going to get something that I want. I feel this pressure to like upgrade, level up my life, right? When all you really want is space and calm and safety. So if that's some of the experience that you've been having, I want to just say that that is very much so in the air. Okay. And if you're not sure, if you're like, Stormy, I'm not sure that's quite where I'm at, let me give you a couple examples because I was thinking about this as I was creating this. It's almost this energy of realizing that you need a bigger home to support your family, right? You're like, okay, we need more space. We've outgrown this space. There's something about it. But that the community or the neighborhood that you really wanted to live in before and was really the right place, you're not in alignment anymore, right? So we take this very Cancerian energy and we put it next to a very Aquarian energy. And so it's like, okay, well, where do I go? Or you want to reconnect with your family. You really are craving that. You're like, I'd love to go to that reconnection, but you are so disillusioned by old patterns of behavior, old trauma stories, old generational trauma that still lingers. So you're a bit put off to having that engagement, right? That would be a great example of this. Now, the thing I do want to say about a quincunx, and I think it's really important, it's why I consider it to be one of the big six aspects we need to know how to work with, is that a quincunx is not necessarily here to be resolved. We're not looking to resolve it, right? What we're looking to do is to lean into where it's stretching us. It's stretching us because it's awkward, right? We're being asked to evolve emotionally, Jupiter in Cancer, without clinging to the past. Pluto in Aquarius, and that's the past world, the past society, the past way we used to do it. It's like we've got to be able to step into the future without numbing out, being afraid to take that step. So this alignment the day before the lunation, I think really sets the tone as we're going to step into this space, into this time, right? Because the other thing that we're constantly on display with right now is that it's not about perfection. It's about emotional courage, right? The emotional courage to change the things that you can in a time where the world may seem a bit complicated or confusing. And it really, when I think about the lunation itself, it beckons this question from me that I invite to you of, can I keep my heart open while the world around me is changing? Can I go to that soft? I'm on the hip roll. I love for you to be in Venus Reset program, but can I go to the softening without collapsing? These are some questions to be considering as we're at this lunation. Yes. Okay, so that's going to be the 24th. And that energy is pulling and leading us into, somebody's at my garage, is leading us into the new moon happening here in Cancer. So let me take a pause here for just a minute and say, if you do not already have your own astrology chart, please make sure that you get it because the best astrology is your astrology. I'm going to give you a general reading here of what's going on with these energies, but it's best to look at where do you have 3 degrees of Jupiter and Pluto in your particular chart? What house is it? And certainly, where do you have 4 degrees of this Cancer lunation in your chart? Because that's where you're going to have the space to make this new start for yourself. Okay. All right. So first of all, the first aspect that we have in the beginning when we're looking at our chart is we've got the sun and the moon together. When the sun and the moon are together like this, we know that this is a new moon time for us. And when the luminaries are together, anything is possible. The sky is dark. We're planting our seeds of intention to hopefully begin something new, begin a new direction. But it's also because the sky is dark, it's a place where the lunation offers us sacred rest, right? We get to go, oh, okay, let me rest for just a minute. Let me rest my mind for a minute. And in the Cancerian energy, I think that this lunation, where we're going to start from when we do plant our seeds of let's begin, it's going to be from the gut, not necessarily just from the mind, because Cancer is the sign that rules, oh, that gut feeling I get. Do I feel secure? Do I feel insecure? Do I feel safe? Do I not feel safe? Emotional intelligence, how do I feel in my home and my body is the most intuitive space that I live in at any single time. So I think that we start from that intuition and that gut vibration as opposed to from the mind. So when the sun and the moon meet here, especially at this early degree, 4 degrees is quite early on, we're asked to check in with our most primal selves because Cancer is also a cardinal energy. So let's ask the primal questions, basics. Do I feel safe? And, do I feel safe in what house is this happening for you? If this is happening in your fourth house, do I feel safe in my home? Do I feel safe in my family? Do I feel safe in my money? What house is this happening in for you? Where do I belong? Cancer wants the safety of knowing it's a part of a tribe, a part of a family, and that it belongs and it fits somewhere. So where at this new moon are you planting your seeds of intention to find out, to learn, to trust your intuition about where you belong? And what does home mean for you now today? Right? Because home today may have a very different vibration for you. It may have a very different meaning for you. And that's something I want you to take into your seeds of intention as you're going to plant them at this time to answer that question. Okay. Now, as you can see, there's a lot of activity going on here. So this is a very active moon. This lunation is surrounded by big planetary aspects outside of just that Jupiter and Pluto quincunx that's happening there. We've got a sharp conversation happening with Mars down here. We are going to break down every single one of these aspects as well. We've also going to see that we've got the Saturn-Neptune square that is happening from this lunation here as well. Okay, so let's jump in and break these aspects down so we can take a look at them, and then we'll talk on the side about your lunar family where you're going to actually be able to take these dates, and I would encourage you to put them in your planner so that you remember that you're checking in and what dates you were checking in from, right? But let's break these down. So we've talked about the new moon, the sun and the moon coming together, but we've added this conjunction with Jupiter over here. So it's very busy over here, okay? This Cancerian energy is lit, but it's beautifully supportive. I think it's deep and supportive with Jupiter being here. Jupiter is exalted in the vibration of Cancer, which means it's expansive. It's a benevolent kind of energy. It wants to bring benefit. It wants to bring harmony to this new moon energy. It's bringing that harmony to the emotional intelligence, to the intuitive intelligence that is available. And as the moon is joining here, another thing I was thinking of is we cannot miss the word fertility. This is fertile soil, not just because it's a new moon energy, but it's fertile. It's fertile with Jupiterian things, fertile with opportunities, right? An opportunity to grow something big, but we're not going to grow it hard. We're going to grow something big and soft, right? We have to go to the soft. We're encouraged here. Dream from the intuition, dream from the heart, dream from the place in you that feels safe, right? Prioritize that. Prioritize your emotional safety, your nervous system safety, your nourishment and feeding your body and feeding your energy on a daily basis. All of these things are going to be brought into this lunation. And you know what? I think it's also really okay to stay here with Jupiter because it's a make it bigger kind of planet. It's okay to want more in your personal lives. If you found out that you're like, I want to deepen my family bonds, I do want to do that. Or I want to open my heart or my home to someone else so that they can have deeper roots or deeper bonds. And this includes in the sexual arena as well. Are you happy with your sex life? What does this look like for you, right? You don't have to go out and find a new partner or find a new anything. Do you feel at home and deeply bonded to wanting something better from even that relationship with yourself? Of course, depending on where this is happening in your chart. Maybe you want to start a project that you feel like supports more emotional or intuitive wellness. This is a great place where you can go, yeah, I want more from my life in this area, so I'd like to put more into it, okay? The key here, as you're planting your seeds of intention, I think if you take into your lunation that, yes, I can want more for my life. Yes, I can want more safety. Yes, I can want to put my heart out. I don't want to wall off my heart. I don't want to be trapped in here by fear. Is that whatever you're also giving and giving into, it needs to be done out of generosity. Okay, Jupiter is a generous planet. So whatever it is, it needs to be done out of generosity. Now let's talk about our next supportive aspect that we've got going here, because we see that this new moon is in a wonderful sextile over here to Mars being in Virgo. Okay, now Mars in Virgo is slowed down, but Mars in Virgo is fully out of that Cancer Leo energy, y'all. We are free. Okay, it's been a long time. We did a lot of good work over there, but we're free now. Okay, so we've got this new moon in this sextile with Mars over in Virgo, which is about precision, discernment, discipline, action, and wanting things to be done the very best that they can be done. Now, it's supportive because the sextile is here, and the sextile creates a pocket of opportunity of ease. But we intelligently are taking action on it. So we're in motion in some way. So this is that helps us get it done kind of energy at this particular lunation. And it's practical. Mars is a practical warrior. Mars is like, do I need to do the dishes? What are the practical tasks? What systems in my life do I need to put in place that will support my habits, that will support my well-being, that will support my money, right? I can tell you this, I'm a Virgo rising, okay? I'm a Virgo rising. My life is as beautiful as I think it is because I have systems in place. And that is something that I have learned. The systems I have in place make sure not that I'm trapped in, but that I see on a daily basis how to show up consistently and have the results that I want. And that is one thing that in this lifetime, I want to absolutely tell you, you can have it too. Mars in Virgo is a great time to do it because it's going to help you get committed to some kind of system of consistency that is going to let you build the thing that you want to build. If it's money, if it's relationships with your family, if it's sex, if it's career, if it's spiritual, whatever it is, the system will help you do that. But I like that Mars in Virgo can help you do it by taking it one little step at a time, because all of this change, the world, the energy is a lot. It's a lot right now. It is a lot, and right on astrological schedule, but it is a lot. So you have an opportunity to really be overwhelmed by some of the changes that maybe need to be made or shifted in you, even if it's being softer. And this energy says you can take it one little step at a time, right? Consistency is not this. Consistency is I'm just doing the same thing, but I'm doing it in a way that I'm consistent towards an outcome that I really do want, right? So if you've been wanting to clean up your home environment, if you've been wanting to overhaul that nutrition, if you've been wanting to start a wellness routine, if you've been wanting to put out YouTube videos, I love that for you. Come hang out with me, right? Whatever it is, what makes this special is that Virgo energy is not going to push. It's not going to push. It's going to refine it. So Mars here is going to say, if you feel like you want to feel better, let's get rid of a little bit of the noise and find some baby steps that we can take. And then we'll move forward. And I think what's beautiful about that at this lunation is here you are planting your seeds of intention. To what? To start something new, and it comes from a soft, more emotional place. Okay, now we talked about this quincunx that's already going on with Pluto. It's creating that itchy tag kind of energy. It's tension. It doesn't need resolution. It needs us to relax into the stretching. Participate in your stretching, okay? Like let it happen. Let it change you. It's not a harmonious aspect. It is not an explosive aspect. It's an irritating aspect. And it's a discomfort in the roles that you've been playing in society, right? Like, what has this been in a group setting, whether that's your culture or your whatever? What's the role that you've been playing? Does it still fit? And if not, you're growing into new emotional maturity and emotional security and starting to realize maybe you've outgrown circles, ideologies, career paths that just don't work anymore. So you can plant your seeds of intention of, I'd like to find where I belong, Cancer. I'd like to own my emotional maturity and take baby steps towards getting there, that Mars sextile energy, to find my tribe and my place in the world. Now, we cannot miss that we have got this square going on. And this has been in play for some time. Jupiter's been looking a square against both Saturn and Neptune. So here we are, we're in conversation. It's separated now, but the whole lunation sits over here in the square as well. So the square is our 911 aspect in astrology. It tells us I need to do something because if you think about it, I'm here getting squished. I'm getting squished in between this little box, this square box situation. And if I don't do something, I'm going to get stuck in here. I'm going to get squished into these walls, right? So the square tells us I got to do something. But what it feels like at our feeling moon is pressure. And I think that beyond this quincunx, which is just stretching us and it's irritating like the itchy tag, this square has our attention, right? Because I think this is the pressure point of the lunation. Saturn and Neptune now here in Aries, we're like, okay, I'm going in this direction. This has been the Saturn Neptune conversation. Okay, I'm going this direction. Why am I not getting where I said I wanted to go? How come my visionary leadership is not playing out? Right? Right? That's okay. It's okay because it's running into the real world responsibilities. I think here that if this is the vision that you really want, what do you have to do or stop doing in order to bridge that gap and to go where you say you want to go next? The square creates friction. It's friction. And this one pushes us to integrate that spiritual longing, the emotional longing, and discipline that comes with it with practical structure. So you see, I love the way this is already playing out for us. What is the end goal that you would like, right? Like, what's the vision that you have? You've been shaping it for a while. It's probably not new. It's maybe just been a bit unrefined. Maybe you've even stepped towards it already and you're like, I'm a little bit off track here. Not completely sure, but don't worry, we're going to have retrograde in July, so you'll be able to step back and retrace your steps. But it is this place of saying we can take baby steps in this friction. And you know what? Listen, I believe this. This is my experience. We talk about it all the time, but there is no better place to start making the changes that we want to make than being tired of our own bullshit, right? Like when I'm in pain enough, when the pain of what I'm doing, believing, have going on is big enough, then I'm able to start making some changes. And this doesn't have to be all dramatic. You just got to be done with what you are got going that's not giving you the result, but it comes from an emotional space this time, right? It's gonna relate to Aries things, in particular, the way that I relate and assert, very Aries, my independence, the way that I initiate a new path, even if I have to take a step back and reevaluate it during the retrograde, the way and where I point myself. It's a very I energy with Aries. Now, for some people, I do want to say, depending on where you're at, depending on what this is bunking into in your chart, this can look like burnout, right? It can look like the burnout that comes and it looks like it looks like it's going down, but it's the burnout moment right before a person is so tired and they want to give up, and then they launch. And then they launch. However, if the burnout is in place, but there's no Mars in Virgo, there's no system in place to hold it, the burnout will continue. Right? Okay, so I hope this is making like a little bit of sense here. That Neptune can fog the perception, but trust me, Saturn is working just fine, asking for our accountability, asking us to move forward on a warrior kind of path, but we just don't do it fully blindly. And I don't think that we have to do it blindly. This whole lunation asks us to trust our intuition and our heart so much. And if we can get soft and we can get quiet, we can point in that cardinal direction and move like that. So when we look at this lunation and we pull all of these energies to really work with together, it's a very busy chart. We could be here for 5 hours in this, but in the end, what I want to say to you is that I think that when we pull it all together, this lunation is heart-centered. It's heart-centered. It's a heart-centered turning point at a time when the world feels very complicated and very confusing. But it reminds us that in that complication of the world, we cannot go to all of these other countries. We cannot go to all of these other people's houses and make this massive impact. But where we can is getting true about our own emotional truths and what's going on at home, right? Like we can be the victors of change in our own homes. Cancer teaches us to soften to the truth and the trust of the wisdom. And I think that's a very heartfelt message because it's so overwhelming to think, how do I pour more love? How do I bring more peace? Start at home. Start at home. Begin again in the life in the home that you're creating with deep self-awareness because it's a reset, right? The sky is dark. This is a reset, but it's not a passive reset. This one is not a passive reset. It requires structure, it requires effort, it requires willingness to meet the discomfort that we're coming up against with a lot of care. If you've been moving too fast, or you feel you've been moving too fast, I think this lunation is a permission slip to pause. Pause. If you've been avoiding feelings, right? Because I can't change what I won't look at. So if you've been avoiding feelings or conversations, this lunation says, listen, listen, right? If you've been leading from pure strategy, nope, I have a strategy. You know, I love a good system. I told you about that. But if it's just strategy and system and there's no spirit and there's no heart in what you're doing, this is a lunation where it says, come back to the body, come back home. What's true here? Where's the spirit in this? Where's the expansion of the emotional intelligence and emotional maturity? Right? But also realizing that as you're asking these questions to move forward in the warrior direction that you would like to go and create, you are supported. You do have the tools. And if you think you don't have the tools, ask for the tools. And know at this particular lunation, and as you follow it through over the next 2.5 years, you are ready for this emotional revolution. I think that you are. And I think that you're also ready for the emotional evolution that will come with it as well. So let's look at these dates that you're going to be able to track and follow your own astrology to see truly how does this unfold. And if you've never done this before, it's your first time listening, this is a great exercise to dig into your chart, into your own astrology, because this is where you just get proof of what you're working on. So we're starting this new moon here today, June 25th. Right? It's not today. It's going to be June 25th of 2025 at 4 degrees of Cancer. So again, locate which house holds 4 degrees of Cancer in your particular chart. Now, this is where we're starting things. It's your invitation, come home to yourself, but we're beginning. We're planting seeds of intention. Things are not clear. You know that you know there's some newness in the air, but it's maybe not super certain just yet. Just plant those seeds in the garden. When we get to March 25th of 2026, we're going to have the first quarter moon at 5 degrees of Cancer. We are in action. People, places, and things that do not fit the vision of what you're calling in right now are going to start to fall out of your life, and it can be crazy fast. And that is not to build fear in you. What's happening is that's the universe weeding your garden. You said at this lunation, this is the experience I'd like to have. The universe said, I heard you. Will accommodate. Let me weed the garden. And this is where I encourage you, become a builder. Get pen to paper around March 25th of 2026. Write down what you want. Write it down, right? Because some things will have rolled in. Write down what you want and where you're going. Let the universe weed that garden. Let the universe do the heavy lifting. It's taking away what doesn't match the vibration. Work with that vibe. It's okay. All right. When we get to December 24th of 2026, now we've got the full moon at 2 degrees of Cancer. So all of the light in what you've been building, you're coming 180 from where we started on the 25th. You're going to be celebrating. What did you build? What did you learn? Where have you expanded in this emotional truth? Where are you working from a place where there's so much heart, there's so much spirit in it? Things have changed with your family, things have changed around that money, whatever it is. And then you'll be asked at that full moon to end something that you don't need anymore, acknowledge your growth or acknowledge a new truth that's on your past, and to make an adjustment. what you still need to work on, what still seems valuable to you. You're going to pivot at that full moon, let those other things fall away, but you choose to let them fall away that time. And then you continue to commit to this new path of finishing what you've built. And when we get to September 23rd of 2027, we'll have the last quarter moon at 0 degrees of Cancer right there within orb. And this is where you're going to bring everything that we've started to a close. Now, sometimes it comes with recognition. You're being very much so recognized for wherever this lit up in your chart, or you're like turning away from it, right? You're like, I did good work here in this cycle in doing the Cancer weightlifting in my chart. I have done well, and I'm ready to bring this to a close. So this is your lunation, family. Please take note of it. Put it in your calendars. The 2026 digital transit calendar from our friends at Wise Skies Collective, they're actually available for pre-sale. I'll make sure that I get it in the description box down below. You can track it in there as well so that you can just keep in touch with your own astrology and see what happens when the Cancerian area of your chart gets lit up. For me, it's North Node territory, so I'm very excited about this lunation because it means a significant person. When you have a lunation happening somewhere around your node, especially your North Node, or you have the North Node that's transiting coming to one of your planets, the universe is usually kind and loving and speaks to us through a person, a significant person who comes to bring a message that's very significant to your path. All right, my absolutely beautiful friends, it's been a delight being here with you. They're cutting the grass, so we get to hear all about that from Alexa. Thank you for spending time with me. Make sure you click in the description box down below. I cannot wait to see those of you that are ready to start on YouTube. In the class, August 2nd, it's 6 Saturdays, and I'm going to show you a strategy to work with YouTube to share your message. It is a lot less scary than it seems, and you don't have to use YouTube in any way that you don't want to, but I will show you what it can do for you. All right, beautiful friends, I love you a ton, and I will see you next time. Bye, everyone.